Hey, this is a new set of videos just looking at the very basics of Maya for those of you starting out. So in this one, which is not the most exciting of videos, but it's important, is just going to be looking at project management. So I feel this is really important. If you bring anything into Maya, such as textures, reference, etc., it doesn't actually save within the file. The only things that save within the file are the Maya files themselves, so the actual scene files. If you save your work and you don't have the project folder set up, then it may be that you actually lose the textures and have to reload them again. Or if you're actually shipping the project from computer to computer, you may accidentally forget your textures, leave them behind, and not have them when you move them around. So, if you just go to File, and under this section here, under the project, we have the project window and set project. So if we're doing something from scratch, we can just go into the project window, and from here we can actually set a new project. So we can give this a name. So I'm just going to call this test project. We can set a location, so just in this instance I'm just going to set this to be the desktop, and we can have all these folders auto-populate, so each one of these. Now in many instances Maya will look to these particular folders when it's saving stuff or opening files. So scenes, for example, it will always look to the scenes folder once the project's set for any Maya files or MB files. Similarly, we have the autosave, and bits and bobs rendering, it will go to the movies file. So it creates the default folders that Maya will look towards. So if I just click on accept, that's created a folder. And if I just bring up my desktop, and we have this test project, and here we have that populated by Maya. So here are all our particular things. Okay. So if, for example, I now create something on this and then just save to a save scene as, it's going to look towards this folder. So if I have my users, my Java desktop test project scenes. Call this okay. Give this a name. Save that. Continue. And again, if I just bring this folder through, see now that within our scenes folder, this file is actually saved. Okay. So the other way we can do this is if we have a folder already, and sometimes this is what I will do. I'll actually create a folder myself. So again, let's just bring this over, and again, I'm just doing this on my desktop for now. So say I was to create a new folder. Let's call this my test project this time, as opposed to test project. So what we could do in here is create our own folder structure. So let's go in. I do tend to create a scenes folder. I do tend to create a textures folder, and also a reference folder. I generally don't create an autosave folder. I try to save iterations myself manually. Not that I don't trust it, but I just prefer to know what I'm doing with that. So they're the sort of minimum, and you can always have subfolders within these for different textures, different project files, etc. So that's created on my desktop. So what we can now do is link Maya towards this particular thing, this particular project folder. So to do that, just go to File, go to Set Project, and again I'm on my desktop. Let's look for this one. So we have my test project on there. See, that's got my folders in. So we don't actually go into the folder itself, just make sure you just highlight the folder that you want to be the project folder and click on Set. You may get this the first time. Don't worry about it. So it's saying it does not contain a project definition file. All we need to do is just create a default workspace. Click on this, and that will be done. So again, if I was to do, say, an open scene, let's see if this has updated itself. Make sure I am on this project folder. Okay. There we go. That's updated it. I'll just show you that in a second. So that's updated that now. And this is looking towards the scenes folder again, even though I've not told it to. Maya instinctively looks towards this folder. Call that one still sphere test. Continue. If I do an open scene, it's going to be looking to that my test project as well. Okay. So what I just had to do there, it was still linked to the first project I set up using the project window. But down here under this recent, we have recent projects. And here we have a list of all the projects that you may have used quite recently. So you can get to them quite quickly if you're working on different things. So here's the first one I set up, which was test project. Click on that one. And again, just do an open scene. This is now looking to that test project folder. Should really give them completely separate names, but there you go. If I go into recent projects and my test project, and again do an open scene, this is looking towards that my test project folder. Okay, simple as that. So that's just setting up project file folders, either through the project window or if you have an existing folder using set project. As a final note to this, if I was to take this project elsewhere, whichever method I've used to create that, so if I took that from this computer onto a computer somewhere else at work or at college or university, etc., I would still have to do the set project. I would still have to link Maya towards that project. It won't come across with it. Once I have set that project up on that other computer, that will come up in my recent projects, so I can just click on it this way again. So whichever computer you take your project to, you will need to do that set project. And that's the end of this tutorial.